This is the CBS Sunday Night News. Richard Roth sitting in tonight for Bill Plant. Good evening. Panama's Manuel Noriega has surrendered, but not to the U.S. troops that invaded his country. He turned himself in at the embassy of the Vatican in Panama City this afternoon and asked for political asylum. CBS News correspondent Richard Threlkeld has the latest from Panama.
The news is confirmed, says the official. Manuel Noriega is indeed inside the papal nuncio's office in Panama City, where he has been granted political asylum. Tonight, U.S. troops and vehicles surrounded the building, but will make no move to apprehend Noriega since the property is technically Vatican territory. Noriega apparently made it just in time. He'd been hiding in a villa in Panama City, and this squad of U.S. commandos only missed capturing him by a few hours. The news that Noriega had given himself up, at least to the church, set off a wild celebration by Panamanians, and for a while tonight, it seemed like New Year's Eve rather than Christmas Eve in Panama City. U.S. Secretary of Defense Dick Cheney, who is visiting here, said he was also pleased, although he was a bit more circumspect about it.
Well, I'm delighted that General Noriega has finally been run to ground.
But nobody here is calling him General Noriega anymore. Panamanians regard him as a scoundrel who they dearly like brought to justice. Tonight, somebody set fire to one of his houses. Even though Noriega is not exactly in hand, the fact that he's been at least cornered will make U.S. peacekeeping efforts here a lot easier. And that is the best Christmas present U.S. troops here could possibly hope for. Richard?
Dick, what's your sense about what happens next? A long standoff or perhaps a quick deal? Any ideas?
I think it's anybody's guess. The best I think that could be hoped for is that eventually a deal will be worked out between Noriega, the Panamanian government, the new government, the U.S., and the Vatican. The terms of that deal, when or if it will come off, anybody's guess.
Okay. Richard Threlkeld, Panama City. Thank you. In Washington, the Pentagon says 24 soldiers and 2 civilians have died in the military operation in Panama. 284 American soldiers have been wounded. President Bush delivered a Christmas Eve radio address to U.S. Armed Forces, calling the troops in Panama the embodiment of America's resolve. At the White House, presidential aides tonight were evaluating what America's next move should be. Norman Robinson has our report.
The surrender of Manuel Noriega is a big Christmas present for the president. There was a collective sigh of relief from the Bush administration all over Washington. Spokesman Marlon Fitzwater delivered the White House reaction.
President Bush is pleased that the general is now under the control of diplomatic authorities. His reign of terror is over.
Only hours before, President Bush, after attending a briefing at the Pentagon, had been pressed by reporters as to when U.S. forces were going to locate Noriega.
If I knew that, why, both of us would be a lot smarter, wouldn't we?
A short time later, Noriega surfaced, and the president had his answer. The feeling has been growing around Washington, at least from a political standpoint, that unless and until the U.S. got Noriega, its mission to Panama would not have been seen as a success. Now that a deposed dictator has entered a diplomatic haven, it is unclear as to whether the United States has any power to get control of Noriega. White House officials met here tonight in an effort to study available options, but refused to say what those options are. Meanwhile, President Bush will keep abreast of the situation while spending Christmas Day with his family at Camp David. Norman Robinson, CBS News, the White House.
Coming up on the CBS Sunday Night News, the battle in Bucharest is easing but not over. And a visit to a Roman street of silk brocade, the 7th Avenue of clerical wear.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Everyone's asleep. Shh, go down and wake them up. Come on.
Happy holidays from Folgers. How fast does Dristan nasal spray start to work?
Faster than a teenager can answer the phone.
Dristan spray pump works fast to relieve congestion, even sinus pressure. For relief,
Faster than tumbleweed in a tornado.
Dristan nasal spray. It's faster than...
The new provisional government of Romania is calling for a ceasefire with forces still loyal to ousted dictator Nicolae Ceausescu. But there was more sniper fire today in the streets of the capital city. Martha Teichner reports from Bucharest.
Nearly 3 days of heavy, non-stop fighting in Bucharest is beginning to taper off. Romania's army hopes Christmas Eve will be the night it can finish the job of subduing units of the secret police still loyal to the deposed dictator Nicolae Ceausescu. Romanian television announced today that 5,000 people have died in Bucharest alone since Ceausescu was overthrown last Friday. Some of the heaviest fighting has been at the television station, which is now not only the mouthpiece for the new government, but its headquarters as well. Although Nicolae Ceausescu is believed to be under arrest, he has not been shown on television, but his daughter was being interrogated in the station during the bombardment. So far, the Soviet Union has resisted Romanian pleas for military assistance, although U.S. support for any action was voiced today.
I think we would support efforts to assist the Popular Front for National Salvation there in Romania.
Romania's provisional government has called for an immediate ceasefire and has ordered everybody but the army to turn in their guns by tomorrow afternoon. But just as likely as a Christmas truce is the possibility of a bloody, slow fight to the finish. Martha Teichner, CBS News, Bucharest.
For the first time in decades, it's easy for people from both sides of Germany to be together for Christmas. East Germany today formally lifted its visa requirements for visits, and thousands of West Germans rushed through the Berlin Wall for celebrations and family reunions. East German Catholics got another big Christmas present. For the first time, their state television carried the Pope's traditional Christmas Eve Mass. An estimated worldwide audience of 250 million heard the Pope speak of the joy of Christmas.
Weighs 1/millionth of an ounce, yet it can take a 2,000-pound car and blow it right off the road. That's why you should drive the new four-wheel drive Subaru Legacy. Think of it as a 5-passenger snowmobile.
Want to see this dull, dry hair disappear?
Like magic?
Try some magic. A touch of VO5 Hairdressing's 5 natural conditioners makes dull, dry hair look radiant.
More manageable, too.
Try some magic.
VO5 for healthier-looking hair.
The Soviet Communist Party's Central Committee meets tomorrow to discuss moves by Lithuanian communists to break from Moscow. And the Soviet Parliament dealt today with an issue of the past, condemning Moscow's decision to send troops into Afghanistan 10 years ago. From Moscow, Jonathan Sanders has more.
The Congress of People's Deputies rose in a minute of silence to honor the more than 14,000 Soviet soldiers who died in the war. They are not easily forgotten. Neither is the war.
Right now, put it behind you. No, we're on the eve of discovering our new lives. What happened in Afghanistan?
The invasion was supposed to save a beleaguered socialist nation that bordered the Soviet Union. Instead, it brought a decade-long bloodbath costing an estimated 1 million lives. The Red Army lost that war. Soldiers and citizens are still recovering, still coming to grips with their losses and the consequences of their defeat. The truths of that brutal conflict are only now becoming known, but experts have already drawn lessons about how their leaders blundered into Afghanistan.
There is a realization that it's wrong to interfere in the affairs of another country in this manner, even if you do it for good reason.
10 years later, the Soviet Union has learned a bitter lesson. Arrogance of power has limits. Military solutions do not solve political problems. Jonathan Sanders, CBS News, Moscow.
This is Terry. For her, cooking in olive oil is a family tradition. Unfortunately, so are excess fat and calories. Well, Terry, meet Pam. New olive oil Pam cooking spray. Because it's Pam, it adds up to 90% less fat and calories. And because it's imported olive oil, it has a great taste. Who says you can't improve on tradition?
A parade? A party? What's going on in Jeffersontown?
I've never been more excited about anything in my entire life.
Everyone's celebrating Ann Bishop's $1 million win from Publishers Clearinghouse.
It turned out to be my neighbor, which I dearly love. I know for sure that real people do win.
Now you can win $10 million. Watch for the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes and send it in fast. On January 26th, you could be a millionaire.
We don't have to worry about our retirement now.
I'm glad that somebody won this, and I'm going to send mine back.
A fire roared through a retirement center late today in Johnson City, Tennessee. Officials say 12 people are confirmed dead so far, and they expect the toll to rise. An explosion today rocked the country's second biggest oil refinery, the Exxon plant in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Officials say one person was killed and several injured. The December cold wave hit the South today with record low temperatures. Florida's governor declared a state of emergency. There is major damage to the citrus crop. The cold wave struck hardest in the southeast, and in South Carolina, it's a rare white Christmas. Rome this time of year is a city filled with tourists and pilgrims, many of the former more interested in shopping than sightseeing, and many of the latter interested more in religion than retailing. But there's one neighborhood in Rome where all those interests come together.
2 mesi senz'altro ci vogliono.
It takes more than 2 months to make a garment like this one, she says. The cost is enormous. She won't say how much. Stocked with everything from embroidered chasubles to wash-and-wear albs, there's an industry in Rome of small shops like this one, about a dozen in all, an industry where the motto might be, clothes make the man of the cloth.
Well, it's, in some respects, it's like shopping for any kind of clothing. Everyone has a particular taste.
Californian Carrie Abbott, about to be ordained a deacon, is being fitted for an alb that will cost him $200.
Yes, it's expensive, but this alb will stay with me for the majority of my life.
They have from outerwear to sweaters to gloves to obviously socks, for bishops, socks for cardinals.
Does a bishop or a cardinal wear special socks?
Yes, they do.
Indeed they do, or at least they can. Franco Barbiconi explained it's not required. He got the store from his father. The family's been dressing the faithful for more than 30 years, polite and efficient, watchful of the fine line between the glory of God and the vanity of man.
With Velcro.
A bishop's new clothes, says Barbiconi, would cost $500 or so, from cassock to zucchetto. And that's a bargain. You and I couldn't get our clothes, quality custom made, he says, for anything near a price like that. Hope your holiday shopping ended happily and that your holiday is a good one. That's the CBS Sunday Night News. I'm Richard Roth, CBS News in New York. Good night.